Good morning, everyone. As Corey said, I'm Tom Watson. I'm with Wisconsin Lawyers Mutual Insurance Company, otherwise known as WILMIC. I'm here today, though, on behalf of the State Bar Communications Committee, and more specifically, the Innovation Subcommittee. For those of you who have been here before, you know that our project now is 6 years in the making. Every year, of course, we try to find lawyers and others out there who are innovating, doing different things, figuring out ways to provide better legal services to clients, just figuring out a better way to do it. As you know, our profession faces a lot of challenges. There are a lot of disruptors out there, and our job is really to figure out how to turn those disruptions into opportunities. And our innovators today have done just that. So I'm excited to introduce those folks to you and let them tell you their stories. Before I go any further, I do want to acknowledge Joyce Hastings and the State Bar staff, Shannon Green, Joe Forward, Peter Kramer, Carly Lester. I'm probably missing a couple, but those folks specifically do so much work for us. Without them, our committee could not do any of the work we do. So thank you to the State Bar staff for that. Corey mentioned Barry Adams and Amber Arnold. They're here with the Wisconsin State Journal, and I want to also add, and I don't remember if you mentioned him, Corey, or not, Andrew Brunner with the Wisconsin Historical Society is here, as well as Simone Munson with the Wisconsin Historical Society. So thank you both for being here today. Folks, you will find out why those people are here in a few minutes. As I said, it's our 6th year. We've had some extraordinary lawyers and innovators that we have introduced you to over the last 5 years. We think we've discovered equally talented and impressive innovators this year, and we'd like to recognize them now. We have 5 programs and a Lifetime Achievement winner that the committee felt epitomized the kind of risk-taking and innovative thinking that has led to new or groundbreaking programs that are worth recognizing and honoring. The programs today that you're going to hear about are things like finding more efficient technology solutions, providing legal services to victims of domestic violence, using on-demand learning for clients, developing a platform that integrates financial analysts with attorneys, and also providing easier access to low-income clients, all worthwhile projects. In one way or another, really these innovators have led to better client services, some of them pro bono. So up first, VOCA Restraining Order Clinic at the UW Law School. At UW, the VOCA Restraining Order Clinic was launched. VOCA, V-O-C-A, stands for Victims of Crime Act. The clinic supports survivors of intimate partner violence, provides direct training for law students. They assist clients in securing protective restraining orders. The students help these victims of domestic violence through each step of the process. There was a study that showed that only 32% of survivors without an attorney succeed in this process. It's only 1 out of 3. 83% with an attorney successfully get an injunction. So legal aid in this area is critical. Survivors generally don't have access to a lawyer, and really that's where this clinic comes in. They provide services in Dane County and 3 surrounding smaller counties. To date, they have had more than 50 clients who have been either represented or advised, and the clinic also provides referrals to local domestic violence programs. The clinic director is Ryan Poe-Gavlinsky. She is not only doing this work, but she's hoping to build the clinic and maybe provide a broader docket of family law matters in the future with this program. So without further ado, Ryan is here to accept the award. Ryan, would you come forward? And congratulations. So be careful. It's very heavy. Use your muscles.
This is very heavy and very gorgeous. Thank you so much. This is very exciting that a program that that offers assistance to victims in such a way that we have not been able to provide before, and to receive the support and the funding from the state has just been absolutely incredible. The VOCA clinic is at the UW Law School. And I have to say and give a huge shout out to our students and the school that really puts forth 110% every day to represent our clients who, without us, probably wouldn't have any type of legal assistance. The students bring a enthusiasm and a desire to really do this type of work that has rejuvenated me from being a practitioner for a very long period of time to now being able to see the light in young eyes. It's good. It's just fantastic. In addition, I want to thank the law school because they did take a chance on me. This is the first time I've ever actually been in the education field. Like I said, I've been a litigator for a long time, and the school did take a chance on me, so I do appreciate that as well. And this is just super exciting for the law school, the students, and I appreciate it. Thank you.
All right. On-demand learning for immigrants. Prior to January 1st of this year, many immigrants planning to stay in the United States with their spouses were limited in finding the right legal options. That changed in 2019 thanks to our next award winner, Ali Subhan. Attorney Subhan is a Milwaukee-based immigration lawyer. He built a tool that basically helps these folks apply for a marriage green card. The online resource takes them step by step through the process. They have a website. It enables clients to get instructional videos, tell them what documents to file. It even uploads them for them, tells them what to expect from there. They have a 24/7 resource. It provides templates, guides, other resources. Also has a lawyer on the other end to help them with questions. They provide updates. They can even file on the client's behalf if necessary. They conduct a mock interview via video conferencing. So they really provide all kinds of services to these folks who, in many cases, have absolutely nowhere to turn. They have no idea how to go through this process. Since the Learning Center went online, Attorney Subhan's clients have had a 100% success rate in obtaining green cards. 100%, that's not a bad batting average at all. Ali's not done. He hopes to add new visa categories to this on-demand tool, and I think he's going to do that in the very near future. So, Ali, congratulations. Ali is here today. Please come up and accept your award. Congratulations. Jan keeps these in order for me so I don't give somebody else's award to the wrong person. There you go. Thank you. Congratulations.
Thank you very much. I want to thank the State Bar for presenting me with this award. I'm honored and privileged to receive it today. It's been a long journey. I want to thank my wife too for supporting me, and a lot of long nights to make the On-Demand Learning Center. And I thank my clients for believing in me and supporting me on this journey and using this tool to help them get the outcome that they want. So thanks again. I appreciate it.
Healthcare tech startups. Trip Stroud and Andrew Briggs worked at Epic Systems, the innovative healthcare IT company out in Verona, happens to be a neighbor of mine. At Epic, they learned a lot of things, one of them being that technology companies have to be aggressive in their thinking, and they have to understand that they're going to see a lot of failures before they find something that is successful. They also know that law firms are generally averse to risk, and they're very cautious. So what they did was they founded Trifecta General Counsel. They created an online client service platform. It's paperless, it's cloud-based, it's a tool that offers fast-moving technology companies a platform. It works a lot better and faster than traditional legal services. The platform also offers secure online document collaboration. It allows Trifecta attorneys really to work with clients in real time. The clients can track existing matters, they can assign new ones, they can have access to a secure and searchable history of project-related communications. Basically, they can go on and get any information they need at any time. They have private access to the lawyer's schedules. Trifecta connects clients for face-to-face meetings if necessary. It's all an effort to help healthcare technology startups get better legal services, and really a lot of this innovation is really what that's all about. It's providing clients with better services, more efficient and more cost effective. Now, after starting with one Madison-based client 3 years ago, had just one, Trifecta now has earned contracts with healthcare systems, pharmaceutical companies, and insurers all over the country, so they have really grown. Tripp is here today to accept the award on behalf of both he and Andrew. Tripp, congratulations. Please come forward. And in fine holiday spirit, too, I see. Excellent.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's heavy. Congratulations.
Thank you. It's an honor to be recognized with these other innovators, and I commend the bar for elevating the importance of innovation in our field. I'm going to take the hat off because I have something serious to say. I think, given this opportunity, I wanted to say that if we really want to celebrate innovation as a profession, I think we need to take a look at the monopoly that the bar has on legal services. The Wisconsin lawyer, well, we could ask the Wisconsin Historical Society because they're here. I think the business model for legal services is largely the same as it was 100 years ago, when people were riding around in buggies and reading by candlelight. And this system, I think, encourages and rewards the status quo. And I think it encourages rent-seeking behavior, and it stifles innovation, except for some examples here. And I think it stifles competition. The result of that, and this is reported in the Wisconsin Lawyer, this story I think was shocking. There's a county in Wisconsin when there's only one lawyer. If you want to get a divorce and your spouse has talked to that lawyer already, you have to go to another town. You have to go to another country, another county. I'm sure that's the case in other states, other parts of the country. The Wall Street Journal reported last week that for graduates in more than half of law schools in the country, they're graduating with more than $100,000 in debt from law school. But then some of these folks turn around and go work at law firms that are billing them out with no experience for $300 an hour. So I think the system as it exists today, the bar system, the monopoly, it's a guild, I think it's failing our communities. I think it's failing our lawyers. And ultimately, I think it's failing justice. So my challenge to the bar today would be, let's experiment with revising this system. Let's lead the way, let Wisconsin lead the way into the 21st century by experimenting with non-lawyer ownership, experimenting with non-lawyer representation in court, and bring the practice of law into the 21st century. Thanks.
Thank you, Tripp. Turnkey mergers and acquisitions. Attorney Tim Nettesheim and his team at Von Briesen and Roper, they saw a need. They decided to figure out a way to do something about it. In 2017, when they all arrived at Von Briesen, they developed a one-stop shop, if you will, for clients who were selling, buying, or refinancing their businesses. The turnkey platform brings together financial analysts and attorneys with tax, accounting, and formal negotiation experience to help bring about more predictable outcomes in structuring deals. The platform also creates more efficient project management, resource allocation. It's a different kind of model than the more traditional one that existed back in the day when accounting firms did accounting. Lawyers did some investment banking. Now accounting firms have expanded, of course. Investment banks are now a thing. So Attorney Nettesheim and his team saw an opportunity to offer more efficient and less costly services for clients. The team includes attorneys Lori Waldron, James Pellegrini, Andrew Frost, Eric Vikstrom, and Allie Bailey. They are all here today to accept their award. Team, come on up. Congratulations. Congratulations, Tim.
Right. Well, I'm going to take my full 2 minutes. The last speaker's comments were interesting because I agree with some of them, and I have a little different take. Yeah, it's a great thing to celebrate innovation because we have to. And yes, the law is a guild, and to a certain degree has a monopoly, more so, I believe, in the litigation side. In my world, which is corporate M&A, buying, selling businesses for clients, that monopoly dissolved a long, long time ago. I believe there's an existential threat to the law firm, the law business as a culture by the accounting firms, all right? So the largest law firms in the world are accounting firms outside the United States by a factor of 10. They're huge. They're waiting to come, and of course, there's efforts in Utah, California, other states to eliminate the fee-splitting prohibition, eliminate the ownership of law firm by non-lawyer prohibition, so they can enter this market, and they will be tremendously disruptive. Their efforts at innovation are jaw-dropping, and it's sometimes hard to get people to want to invest the money needed to do it, but we developed OneSource as a response to competing with them when they basically were doing everything in the purchase or sale of a business, including legal services, even though they never called it that. So we developed, our process, which combined financial analysis, basically investment banking, with the traditional legal side, tax, corporate, employment law, negotiation, and did it in a little way that the accounting firms and the investment banks cannot. Now, first of all, we do a flat fee, no contingency, and people criticized that, thought it could never do it. It was very popular. We have a real privilege and real confidentiality rules. In other words, I can lose my license if I talk about a deal or any of the team talks about a deal. That's not true for others who do it. They say they have confidentiality, but I can tell you, I can go to lunch with one of them, and they'll tell me about their deal that they're working on, and I'll know everything there is to know. So clients appreciate that. So the flat fee, the real duty of confidentiality, the most important, real rules on conflict of interest. I can't tell you how many times that other professionals working in the M&A world have real conflicts of interest with the other side. But there is no real legal prohibition for them not to be on both sides of the deal. Obviously, we all know we can't do that. We can lose our license. So, we bring, true objectivity because I have no relationship with the other side. I can't. And if I did, I would obviously have to disclose it. So we brought that real conflict of interest rules to this process, along with the single source M&A solution. So we're meeting an existential threat just simply by saying we're doing something they can't do or do as well. And we have to do that because we believe that to survive as a business today, you have to innovate. And the question is, are we doing it as lawyers? All of us here are either lawyers or we work with lawyers. So I ask you, do you see a lot of innovation going on in your world? I do not. All right? In fact, we get a lot of resistance to changing. We still have the billable hour today. That's the dominant form of charging for our services. And the resistance we got to a flat fee was tremendous. Clients love it, but yet we don't, we say, yeah, we have to innovate, but we don't. Why is that? It's simple. Innovation is just change, right? Doing something that others aren't doing, doing something differently. And what do we say about people and change? We say, oh, people won't change. Tim won't change. Sally won't change. That's what we say. And, it's a human nature thing that people don't change. The fact is, change requires a catalyst and courage. But people question, they criticize, and they ridicule change agents. They do. It requires courage to innovate. This is why this program is so important. You are validating those of us who, summon the courage to actually step off the plank. So, on courage, I want to just give a little inspiration from Teddy Roosevelt. And he reminded us of the importance of courage in the face of possible failure, because that's what holds us back, folks. Lawyers hate failing, right? They don't want to be ashamed. And failure is, a huge part of change. You're going to fail. So what did he say? He had this speech called The Citizenship in a Republic, and it's on the wall of my office, so it kind of inspires me. I hope it inspires you. He said, I think it was in France, to give a speech to the assembly in France, "It is not the critic who counts, not the man who points out how the strong man stumbles or where the doer of deeds could have done them better. The credit belongs to the man who is actually in the arena, whose face is marred by dust, sweat, and blood, who strives valiantly, who errs, who comes short again and again, because there's no effort without error and shortcoming. But who does actually strive to do the deeds, who knows great enthusiasms, the triumph of high achievement, and who at the worst, if he fails, at least fails while daring greatly, so that his place shall never be with those cold and timid souls who know neither victory nor defeat." That is courage, you embracing that. So Roosevelt believed that you're not judged by the fact that we accomplished this. That isn't the point. People accomplish stuff all the time. It's the process. It's the process of going through success and failure on a kind of alternate basis. Those who love the status quo, and I agree, lawyers love the status quo, they don't practice the virtue of courage. Courage requires personal sacrifice. It demands that you accept the risk of failing. You have to have skin in the game, and that skin is what people don't like to give. So it's so much simpler to sit on the sidelines and criticize those who have the audacity to leap, across the chasm. But there's no fulfillment in just sitting on the sideline. No statute in honor of a critic. If you want to win, you have to show up and be vulnerable. You have to be the man or woman in the arena, and that's what lawyers are. Whatever they're doing, whether it's corporate law, M&A, litigation, justice for all, whatever it might be, you are the man or woman in the arena. And when we rolled out our one-source platform, we faced a lot of criticism. We were warned flat fee wouldn't work. We had investment bankers posting things on LinkedIn to the public that you should never have your lawyer sell your business. Literally, your lawyer should never sell your business. That's what it said the week we rolled this out. They accused us that we had a conflict of interest. They never explained what that was, but we ignored these things and all the other brickbats that came, and the clients had one consistent reaction. They just, time after time, they would say, "This makes so much sense. Why isn't anybody doing this? I hate the billable hour." And they loved it. And it made us feel like it was all worth it. That change was good for our clients, and we were doing something that these others who are not governed by our rules and do not have to follow the restrictions we do couldn't do. And the clients told us a simple message: we trust you more. We trust you more because you can't do the things that we know they do. And we know that a success fee is inherently a conflict. So that was rewarding enough. So on behalf of all of the team here for Von Briesen Roper Capital Markets, I thank you. And I really encourage you to continue this marvelous process of incenting people to step off the plank and innovate. Thank you.
Thank you, Tim, and all that are working on that project. All right, navigating civil legal needs. Marquette University Law School. and the Milwaukee Justice Center. They joined forces to develop a learning activity. It's called Lost in the Law. It's a role-playing game designed to educate various participants on the set of circumstances that are facing basically lower-income Wisconsinites when they navigate the court system, so they have a better idea of the obstacles that those folks are facing when they get caught up in the system. The idea originally came from a question about whether a tool existed that illustrates the challenges facing unrepresented litigants. There didn't seem to be anything out there, so Angela Schultz, the Assistant Dean for Public Service at Marquette, reached out to Mary Ferwerda. She is the Executive Director of the Milwaukee Justice Center. Law students at Marquette helped create the fictional characters, although the scenarios are rooted in real-life experience. The 90-minute simulation debuted at the Wisconsin Equal Justice Conference this past March. It was also used at the Judicare Conference in October. Angela and Mary are hoping to create an electronic format for the game, and they're also creating a version for use in other states. They're submitting a proposal as well to introduce the activity nationwide in the National Equal Justice Conference. Attorneys Schultz and Ferwerda are here today, as well as Maggie Frawley, who is also involved in this program. Angela, Maggie, and Mary, would you please come forward and accept your award? Congratulations.
We want to thank the State Bar of Wisconsin for recognizing Lost in the Law as a 2019 Legal Innovator. I'm a third-year law student, and I'm honored to be here with Mary and Angela because I worked on the project with them. And the two of them have become very influential mentors to me throughout law school, and it's really a joy to be here with them today and to work on this project with them. Their dedication to civil legal aid and equal justice is very inspiring to me, and I hope to continue to learn from them. Lost in the Law is a project that means a lot to all three of us. I've had the pleasure of working on it with them from the very beginning, and when it was just an idea, and helping come up with all of the research and the stories has really developed, and it's been amazing to see how far it has come and how far it will go in the future. Our primary goal with this project was simple, and it was to immerse a participant into the experience and struggle of a pro se litigant dealing with real civil legal issues. And we hear it all the time in movies and on TV that you have the right to an attorney, and if you can't afford one, then one will be appointed to you. But what's really misunderstood about that is that that's for criminal matters, and you really don't see that in civil. So we wanted to get an opportunity to help people navigate civil legal needs and really illustrate the difficulties that people see with civil legal aid. And that's the point of Lost in the Law. We want lawyers, lawmakers, politicians, students, community members, everybody in between to experience what it is to be a pro se litigant. And as we developed the project, we've seen many participants get very frustrated and upset, and many note to us what they would have done differently and how it wouldn't be so hard for them. But that might be because they can afford an attorney or that they know what resources are available to them. So the simulation helps participants to realize what seems like such a minor issue to one person is really life-altering to another. And so on behalf of Mary and Angela and the rest of us working on Lost in the Law, we want to thank you for recognizing us as a legal innovator. And if anybody's ever interested in playing the game or hosting a simulation, let us know. And we thank you for doing this for us. Thank you.
Thank you to all three of you. All right, now the Lifetime Legal Innovator Award. This is the 5th year in a row now that we're recognizing a Lifetime Legal Innovator, somebody whose work has left a long-term impact on our profession. I would say this year's winner has left a truly long-term impact, 150 years long-term, actually. Our honoree this year practiced law 150 years ago. Lavinia Goodell. She is the first female Wisconsin lawyer. You talk about a tough battle. Male lawyers wouldn't even accept her as an apprentice, so she studied on her own. She finally got into court. She won her first court trial. She appealed a case to the Wisconsin Supreme Court. They wouldn't admit her because she was a woman. Ultimately, she got the state to pass a law that allowed women to be attorneys back in 1877. She also championed women's right to vote, right to own property, retain custody of their children, receive financial support when they divorced abusive or neglectful husbands. All of this with tremendous barriers in front of her, but she just kept going and kept going. Her historic contributions, I think, are pretty visible even today. Half the law students in both of our law schools are women. 5 of our 7 Supreme Court justices are women. It's especially timely, I think, as we recognize next year's 100th anniversary of a women's right to vote. What makes it even more interesting that this whole project has sort of become not just a lifetime award, but it's led many different people to really look into Lavinia's life and her work and correct the record. There were a lot of old records out there that were not accurate about Lavinia Goodell's life and her work and her career. In fact, a photograph of who we thought was Lavinia hung in several courthouses. It turned out it was the photograph of someone else. Those are being replaced. So, not only that, you might have noticed down here we have on display a certificate of admission to the Supreme Court. That's Lavinia's certificate of admission. And it's being donated today to the Wisconsin Historical Society. Andrew and Simone are here to accept that. So that's terrific. At the forefront of all of this, Colleen Ball, an appellate attorney with the Wisconsin Public Defender, and Nancy Kopp, she's with the Supreme Court Commissioner's Office. Colleen and Nancy have really painstakingly researched Lavinia's life and her work. They continue to help correct the historical record about Lavinia. They have created a website that talks about Lavinia and her work. They've got a blog chronicling Lavinia's work and her life. They continue to work on chronicling and really documenting Lavinia's contributions to our profession. Also, Steve Bates, the great-great-grandnephew of Lavinia, has researched Lavinia in Rock County. Steve lives in Columbia, South Carolina. He traveled up here and is here with us today. He is also a lawyer. So he is here representing Lavinia and her family. At this time, please help me welcome to our ceremony today Steve Bates, Colleen Ball, and Nancy Kopp. Colleen, that's yours.
All right, thank you.
Nancy, that's yours.
Beautiful. Okay, do you want to hold? Oh, thank you. Nancy and I cannot thank the State Bar enough for honoring Lavinia Goodell today. You may know that when she moved for admission to the Wisconsin Supreme Court, one of her arguments was, hey, how can we expect the court system to deliver justice properly when half the population is excluded from the bar and from the courts? And the swift response she got from Chief Justice Edward Ryan was motion denied, thereby demonstrating her point. And so we think that her decision to challenge the Chief Justice's decision to persuade male legislators and a male governor to sign the bill that she drafted to open the bar to everyone in the state, we think that that should be celebrated by all of us. It contributed to diversity in the profession, but also to equal justice. Now, Nancy and I began researching Lavinia about 18 months ago, and I think our initial impressions were that she was a local hero, but we quickly realized that she was engaged with some of the most prominent issues of the day in the national press. Among other things, when she was young, in her early 20s in the 1860s, she helped her father, a big abolitionist, publish one of the leading anti-slavery papers in the day. Believe it or not, she also helped launch America's first fashion magazine, that's Harper's Bazaar, and she wrote afterwards that she thought that experience improved her writing, a skill which she then quickly put to good use advocating for women's suffrage in the national press, and she did that a full 50 years before women gained the right to vote in America. In 1874, she was the first woman admitted to practice in the circuit courts in Wisconsin, and a couple months later, she became the first woman to argue a case to the jury in Wisconsin. And stop and think about that, people. Back then, that means your opponent, the judge, and all of the jurors were men. Guess what? She won, you know. So this is pretty exciting as you're reading along and discovering these things about her. She didn't stop there. In 1875, she ran for Janesville City Attorney, and we think she may be the first woman in the country to run for that office. We have a scholar working on that issue to help confirm it for us right now. So I've described all of these firsts, and I still haven't talked about her advocacy for temperance, and as Tom mentioned, her advocacy for the rights of married women and for prison reform. I guess the point really is Lavinia spent her life innovating, and always, always for the benefit of disenfranchised people. So thank you, State Bar of Wisconsin, for honoring her. And an extra special thanks to Joyce Hastings and Mike Wiltsey for raising her profile. And I don't just mean her professional profile, I mean her physical profile too. Thank you for that. We are working to restore her true identity. And I'd like to mention, follow up on what Tom said. She did leave behind very detailed diaries and hundreds of letters. And what Nancy and I are trying to do is share with the public those eyewitness accounts of her private life, of what it was like to break into the law as a woman in the 1870s, as what it was like to mingle with the famous Harper brothers as an editor at their magazine, what it was like to advocate for suffrage and prison reform in a time when everybody was against it. You can get that if you come to our blog, www.laviniagoodell.com. Please subscribe by email or Facebook or Twitter. We would really appreciate it. And now, here's your real treat. As Tom said, Steve Bates, Lavinia's great-great-grandnephew, is here today to speak with you. And Steve has done a lot of research on his own about Lavinia. He's also helped Nancy and me with our research. And he is, among other things, the former executive director of the South Carolina ACLU. And I think that fact is important because given Lavinia's passion for civil rights, I really think she'd be thrilled to have Steve in particular here today to accept this, this award. So please welcome Steve Bates.
Oh, thank you for the opportunity for us to be here today. Lavinia Goodell was just a name in my family tree when my wife and I visited Janesville in 1989 while I was in Madison on an ACLU conference. But we went to Janesville looking for information on my great-grandfather who had been born in Janesville, and his parents and his grandparents, who we believed had been buried in Janesville. Turns out that they had been moved to Berea, Kentucky, and it took us a long time to find them. But what we did, we went into the Rock County Historical Society and asked questions about where'd the graves go, where'd they live, what they do here. And the archivist said, "Do you know about Lavinia?" And I said, "What is there to know about Lavinia?" And she said, "Here is a tape recording of a program that we did about women in law in Rock County and on Lavinia Goodell." And there opened my world into Lavinia Goodell. Since then, I think I am the only person in my family that I know of who has pursued this through the years, reading and everything that's been written, following the publications and the research, until Nancy and Colleen came along. I was an observer. I got to watch what other people were saying about her career and why she was important to us. And now I'm finding out firsthand more information than had been available before, thanks to Colleen and thanks to Nancy and Colleen. On behalf of the family, Lavinia's been gone for 140 years. No one living today knew her. There are a few of us, I was thinking on the way, tenuously, who actually knew somebody who knew her. And I am one of the last remaining people who knew his great-grandfather, the one born in Janesville, was 11 years old when Lavinia died. But in all those years of knowing somebody who knew Lavinia, and I've talked to my distant cousins about this, nobody ever asked or never thought to ask them, tell me about, or to say to them, tell me about Lavinia. So I am here today on behalf of the family to say thank you for giving her the recognition that we know she deserves. It's been a long time coming. In fact, I'd say it's about time. And just to clear up any mystery, we don't know the answers to who that other woman is in the photo, but I've narrowed it down to 2 of her cousins. And we hope to have that mystery solved soon. But thank you all very much on behalf of the Frost and Goodell families.
Thank you again to the State Bar for honoring Lavinia Goodell with the Lifetime Legal Innovator Award and for helping to give this extraordinary lawyer the recognition that she deserves. One of the joys of this project has been the chance for Colleen and me to meet some of Lavinia's relatives. In addition to Steve Bates, we've met Sarah Stamps of Nashville and Beverly Wright of Bear, Delaware. Beverly graciously shared family photos with us, and we asked her if she might possibly have any other Lavinia-related materials. She promised she would look, and to our great excitement and hers, she found the 1879 certificate admitting Lavinia to practice before the Wisconsin Supreme Court, and that's the certificate that we have here today. I hope you've had a chance to look at it. As far as we are aware, that certificate has never been publicly seen before today. Endearingly, Beverly's grandfather wrote on the certificate in red marker to identify who it had belonged to, and he wrote, "First woman lawyer in Wisconsin, Gema's grandma's sister." And Beverly has asked us to read a short statement. I have known of Lavinia Goodell since I was a young girl. We had a very old photo album which included her business card, and we had also inherited all the family papers of my grandfather, Ambassador Wesley Frost. Several years ago, I contacted the Wisconsin Historical Society about an incorrect photo published of Lavinia. When lawyers Nancy Kopp and Colleen Ball started their comprehensive research on Lavinia, they found me. I had done some initial sorting of the family papers, but when they asked me if I had any additional information, I delved deeper and found the certificate enabling Lavinia to present cases before the Wisconsin Supreme Court. After the certificate's display at the Legal Innovator Awards, I am happy to donate this important document to the Wisconsin Historical Society. Beverly S. Wright, Bear, Delaware. And so now I'd like to call on Simone Munson from the Wisconsin Historical Society to say a few words.
I'm going to come pick this up first.
I heard that. Somebody said I should be wearing gloves. We actually don't wear gloves with paper. We only wear gloves with photos. It's a common misconception. So I just want to hold this up so that everyone can see, if you haven't had a chance to see. It's interesting to me, I always find it interesting that it's a piece of paper that gives us the authority to do things, right? And in the work we've been doing in the last year to help celebrate women's right to vote, there was a big event in June commemorating Wisconsin ratifying the 19th Amendment and being the first state to ratify the 19th Amendment. And as a woman, one of the things that I found most interesting about it was that it took a bunch of men to sign a piece of paper to give us the right to vote, right? It's a really interesting concept. And so on behalf of the family, on behalf of the Wisconsin Historical Society, I really do want to thank the family for being here and Nancy and Colleen for all the research that they did, because it's using pieces of paper like this one that help us sort of shed light on how things change and how innovation happens and what research can be done with the historical record to show the progress that we've made over time. And so we are really, really honored and excited to add this piece of paper to our collection at the Wisconsin Historical Society. And we hope that as scholars and others continue to do research on Lavinia and other female lawyers, that this will help shed light on their stories and help them sort of be remembered in the light that they deserve to be remembered in. We will be commemorating the centennial of the women's right to vote all year long in 2020. And so this piece of paper will go into storage for a time, but we are hoping that we can find ways to incorporate it into exhibition and programming around the state in the coming year as we continue to celebrate women, suffrage, and women's involvements in politics and the legal system. So thank you.
Thank you all. Thank you to the governors, State Bar leadership. Thanks for giving us your time. I know you have a lot of business to conduct today, and so we appreciate having the opportunity to have these folks tell you their stories. I think there's some great lessons in all of them. Thank you. In 2020, if you see innovation, let us know about it. Thanks again.